everybody, Austin here from Ducain, doing a little gear rundown for your quarantine viewing pleasure. Going to talk to some guitars, going to talk to some amps, some pedals, so let's get started. Alright, this is my number one. This is a 2016 1958 reissue of a Les Paul Standard, and I believe it's Dirty Lemon Burst, I believe. A couple things about it, it's just got two custom buckers in there. They read about 7.6 and 8.5. They're pretty light for a PAF clone of a pickup. Strings, I use 11 to 48 Ernie balls. Real simple, it's just the purple pack. Anything special about this guitar, I flip this magnet so that way it is out of phase in the middle position when both volumes are all the way up. I changed the tuners out for Grovers. I believe those are the mini kidney bean ones. And that's about it. I play this guitar every single show, and it's never failed. Alright, next up we have my number two. This is a 2012 1957 reissue of again, a Les Paul Standard. It's the gold top with humbuckers. Again, changed out the tuners for the Grovers. Stock custom buckers, nothing fancy there. I did add a Gretsch switch tip on there just because I like the grip. Same thing with the pickups. I flipped the magnet in the front pickup to have the out of phase sound. And that's about it. This thing's been beat. I just got it about a year ago, and it's doing great. Alright, and for number three, I actually just got this one back from my buddy Blake Burkholder, doing some great Luthery work out of Hurricane. This is a 2012 traditional Les Paul, nothing fancy. He actually just switched these pickups out. My buddy Chris Vance had these Korean PAFs in there, but I switched them out because I wanted some double whites, and I switched them out for the DiMarzio PAF, just the reissue ones. They're really, really cool, and they read really light, and they actually sound like a great PAF. Again, nothing fancy about this. I switched the Clousons out for Grovers again, just because they're smoother. And Blake dubbed this the wannabe burst. Next up, we got a 2016 Firebird Tobacco. Nothing real special about it. It's got the Steinberger tuners on there, which I don't really care for, but they're extremely accurate. It's got stock mini humbuckers in it. I've changed nothing about this guitar other than the knobs and the switch tip, which is a Gretsch strap button. This is a great guitar if you want to get your cream on or get your Alan Collins on. I don't use this a lot live with Ducain, but it does make its way onto records and things like that. So this is a great one. I should use it more. We're going to start here with some of the Marshalls that I've been using, especially in the past, the Super Reverb and the Tremolo. So to start with the amp that's actually on, this is a 1975 Marshall Super Lead 100 watt. This is the area of the JMP. This is a great amp. This was my first Marshall 100 watt that I ever got. And I got it up from a guy in Cambridge, Ohio. Thanks, buddy. And I use it a lot. It's mainly used for recording right now because I've downsized to the Tremolo. This is a great amp. It's been modded to have a master volume on it, and it's actually in the presence knob, and the presence knob got moved to the back. I usually use it with a Vox 412 cabinet that runs at 8 ohms, but this is a Marshall cabinet that runs at 16. These are 4 G12 75 watt speakers, and the Vox cabinet has 4 English greenbacks, I believe. They're 25 watts. Great cabinet. Marshall also makes a great cabinet. Up top here, this is a 1968 Super Lead 100 watt. This is the import model with the polarity switch on it. It has been modded to have a post and pre master volume, so it's kind of got that Doug Aldrich thing going on. As you can see, I jumper both of them just because you have to. It's a Marshall. Honestly, I prefer the 68 to the 75, but the 75 has definitely got more bite, whereas the 68 definitely just has more versatility. I don't use these amps too much live anymore. They're a burden to carry around, and they're vintage, so why would you? Alright, moving right along, we're going to move to this, I believe it's a 1990s reissue of a 65 Super Reverb Blackface. I just got this off my buddy Blake around Christmas time. It's a great amp, 410s. I use it full blast, no tubes pulled, nothing like that. No mods to it, other than a nice little light that he switched out. I mainly just use this as a texture. It doesn't get boosted for the leads, it doesn't get really any other effect other than the tremolo, the delay, and the overdrive that's on the pedal board. It's got a very great low mid thing that I like a lot, but the Marshalls also do that as well, so I change them in and out. I used to use a deluxe reverb all the time, but I've since moved to a higher wattage amp. So that's the Fender. It's a great one. Alright, and on to the Tremolo. So this is the Tremolo Rock Grinder. I believe it's serial number 006. This is pretty much just a JTM 45. I believe it's got KT88s in it, and it does not have a master volume like the Marshalls do. I still jumper it, and I use the JHS Sweet Tea to give it some overdrive. This amp has been new to me, but it has been absolutely fantastic. As you can see, it's covered in purple Tolex, which is my favorite. And it is loaded with a vintage 30, and I believe that is 60 watts, and then it has got a 25 watt greenback on the other side. So it's kind of an unconventional combination, but it sounds fantastic. This amp is mainly the lead amp. It takes pedals extremely well, and it usually lives on top of the Vox 412 cabinet. Lately I've been using this 212 cabinet with it just for small gigs, and it's been great. So that's the Tremolo. Alright, let's talk a little bit about pedals. This is a pretty easy signal chain, nothing fancy. We're working with a pretty classic 2 amp setup, but I'm not doing a stereo setup or nothing like that. Mainly it's just because I want to be loud. And so let's go through the signal chain here. First we start here with a Dunlop Joe Bonamassa Crybaby signature wall. I've had this wall for a very long time, and it's been the same one. And if you come to a Ducain show, you know I step on it like it owes me money. This is a great wall. It sounds just like a vintage one, and you can't see it, but down here I've got one of my picks taped in there, so that way it just brings the sweep a little bit less, more like a vintage wall. From there, we go to the Boss Chromatic Tuner, the TU3. As you can see, I've got it painted all up because I'm crazy. And I've used that same one for a very long time. I also use it as a mute to change guitars. That's a great one. I'd buy another one if it broke. Moving down, this is the Mxr Phase 45. It's the vintage one, or the vintage reissue, I'm sorry. I don't use it very often, but when I do, it adds a lot of texture and a lot of depth, especially to the Marshalls. From there, we go into the Layla. This is the Little Dual, and I just mainly use it just to keep both amps moving, and it's got a ground lift and a phase switch, which helps me a lot. So from there, this is where we split off into our rhythm and lead. So up here, these 3 pedals are all my rhythm sound. These 3 pedals down here are all my lead sound. So we'll go rhythm first. This is a way huge saucy overdrive. I mainly just use it to go into the super, so that way it just gives it a little bit of dirt and a little bit of a texture, and it sounds really close to what the Tremolo is doing right now. Next, Voodoo Labs Tremolo. Again, I've got it all painted up with some American Minor lyrics on the bottom, which is just for me to laugh at. This is a really great tremolo. I got off a good friend of mine, and it doesn't come in and out just as hard as the Fender amps do, but it does the job really well. Right after that, I've got a carbon copy analog delay that I've got the modulation on. I mainly just use that for a slapback whenever we cover Chris Stapleton, which helps a lot. Alright, so that's it for the rhythm section, which is real simple. No crazy sounds, nothing like that. Moving down here, now we're going to move to the lead sound. So we start here with the JHS Sweet Tea. I usually just mainly use this, to put this into the Tremolo just to give it a little bit of extra dirt, and I use the Tube Screamer side as a boost. So from there, it is pretty much just a JCM 800 on the left, and then it's actually got 3 different kinds of Tube Screamers to boost from on the right. That is a great pedal, and I'm actually still buying it off Jeremy, so thanks, buddy. From there, we go to the Wampler Tape Echo. I believe this is version 1 with the tap tempo, which is great. I just got this pedal just about 6 months ago, and I've been putting it to some great use. It's got a faux tape reel on it, which sounds very accurate to the old Echoplexes. And it's even got a shade button, so I can dial in some of that distortion that you get from the old tapes. From there, I usually use 2 different kinds of pedals, but right now it is a Earthquaker Devices hoof fuzz. It kind of goes back and forth between that and the MXR/Octave fuzz, but they just come in and out depending on what the set list dictates. So mainly what I just use this for is to give me a fat violin like Eric Johnson sound. It's a really, really great fuzz. It goes straight from the silicon all the way to the germanium transistor, and it sounds very accurate to what those are. Sometimes I'll put in a Vox Tone Bender clone, but that's a little bit too woofy for what the humbuckers do. And there's the pedal board. Alright everybody, that's my rig. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting Ducain and watching our extremely long videos. Stay safe and remember to wash your hands.